Today we're going to tie the Tailwater Caddis emerger, which is one of our most productive patterns for the South Fork of the Boise and the Owyhee during the summer. Now to get started here, we're just going to take our brown 8/0 thread and we're going to make nice even thread wraps down the shank of the hook. We'll just continue on until it meets the bend, and right at that point where the bend meets the shank, we'll just take our scissors and we'll clip out the tag end. Okay, here in the next step, we're just going to take two pieces of Caddis green dyed peacock curl. We're going to tie those in together right there where the bend meets the shank, and we're going to make nice even thread wraps up to about 3/4 hook shank length. We're going to stop our thread right there. We'll take our scissors and we're just going to clip out those butt ends. Now at this stage, what I like to do is just add a little bit of durability to the pattern, so I'll add a single piece of this extra small copper wire, and I'm just going to tie that along the hook shank all the way back to where it meets the bend so that it's even with the peacock curl. Just go ahead and take your thread and move that back up to the 3/4 mark. Now we're ready to create the abdomen portion of the pattern, and to do that we're just going to take our peacock curl and we're going to make nice even wraps up the shank of the hook. As you become more familiar with this pattern, you're going to be able to wrap both pieces in together, but for instructional purposes we're just going to do it individually. And as you can see here, we're just going to stop our wraps right there at the 3/4 point, and we're going to make a securing wrap behind the peacock and then make a few more wraps just to bind that material down. Take your scissors, we'll clip out the tag end. Once we have that taken care of, we can just take that second piece of peacock and we'll make nice even wraps pretty much in the same fashion, but what we're doing here is just adding a slight amount of bulk, and we're just going to fill those gaps. As you can see here, we're just going to go ahead and stop those wraps again right there at the 3/4 point. Make one thread wrap behind the peacock to secure it down, make a few more binding wraps, and take your scissors, clip out the excess. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and rib this pattern, and what I like to do here is make reverse wraps with the copper wire opposed to the forward wraps that we made with the peacock. And what that does is it actually cross hatches the pattern so that if the peacock were ever to break, it wouldn't unravel along the shank of the hook. So basically what we're doing is just adding a layer of durability. We'll stop that copper wire right there again at the 3/4 mark, make a few wraps behind just to make sure that it's securely on the shank of the hook, make a few forward wraps, and then we're just going to bend that wire out. At this point we're ready to create the wing, and we're doing that by using two evenly splayed dark natural dun CDC fibers. We're going to pinch those together, measure for about the end of the bend, and then we're just going to pinch and cinch. And what we're doing here is we're just creating securing wraps right there at the 3/4 mark. We're going to pull those butt ends up and we're going to make wraps forward of those to ensure that the wing doesn't roll from side to side. Take that tag end and just clip out the excess material. Now in this step we're going to create the emerger legs, and we're going to do that by using that sulky metallic thread material that we colored up with our brown Sharpie marker. Tie it in off of one side, bend the excess off to the other side, and make securing wraps. As you can see here, we'll just rotate the vise. It kind of creates that V. Now take your scissors and clip those legs out at about the wing length. In the next step of the pattern, I like to tie in a piece of partridge to add a bit of contrast to the wing. And we'll just go ahead and clip out a V. We'll measure for about CDC wing length. We'll grab those with our thumb and our forefinger, and we'll make a few overhand wraps just to secure that down to the shank of the hook. And as you can see here, we want that partridge material splayed evenly on both sides. We'll just take the tag end, grab our scissors, and clip out the excess. And at this point, what you can do is just make a few thread wraps just to get a nice even base. Once we have that all taken care of, we're just going to add our antenna using that barred lemon wood duck. Clip out two individual fibers and we're going to tie those in on either side of the CDC wing. Kind of pinch and cinch those with the left thumb and forefinger. Make a few wraps to bind those down to the shank of the hook. Go ahead and take your scissors and clip out the excess there. Now we're ready to dub the head of the fly. Okay, in this portion we're just going to take some of that PMD brown emergence dubbing and we're going to roll that on the thread between our thumb and our forefinger on our right hand, create that nice even dubbing rope, and make forward wraps right there at the eye and we're going to work our way back towards the area where the wing, the antenna, and the legs meet. We'll move forward, creating that tapered football look, build up that thread head, and now we're ready to finish out the fly using our whip finish. Okay, and we're just going to wrap things up here by whip finishing the fly, and we'll repeat the process. We're just going to do another 5-turn whip finish. As you can see here, once we have that taken care of, we'll just pull that loop out, snug up the thread with our finger, grab our scissors, and we're going to clip that thread out as closely as possible. Once that's taken care of, we'll hit the head up with a little bit of head cement, and that is the Tailwater Caddis emerger. This is by far one of the most productive June and July caddis emerger patterns that we fish on the South Fork of the Boise and the Owyhee River. However, they translate well, so tie a few up and see how they fish on your home waters.